what we're describing as like hyperscale data centers. So these are by like Amazon, Meta. Most of them are to power artificial intelligence. We are here at the Capitol in the Senate building today, showing up for a hearing on the Senate Environmental Omnibus Bill, which is the bill that is carrying forward the language around the Wild Rice Act that we've been working this year to pass since the start of session. This legislation would increase the amount of attention kind of on wild rice, and it would incentivize our agencies and everybody to protect wild rice more than it's happening right now. The laws aren't always enough. We're seeing a loss of wild rice all over Minnesota. We are seeing threats from climate change, threats from pollution, threats from even landowners that have property near wild rice waters. They're ripping out the wild rice stalks. They're maybe boating with motorboats through wild rice beds. So things are unfortunately going to continue probably as they have been, which hasn't been good for Mahnomen. So obviously, legislation is just kind of one tool that we have in our arsenal of ways. Originally, we introduced with Senator Mary Kunesh, Senate File 1247, which was the Wild Rice Protection Act. It included some policy findings recognizing the inherent right of Mahnomen to exist, thrive, and flourish. The bill originally also included some provisions that would restrict the application of pesticides anywhere near wild rice waters, as well as restricting irresponsible boating practices from taking place through wild rice beds. And it would require a risk justification anytime a business or entity was proposing a project that would impact a wild rice bed, wild rice waters anywhere in Minnesota. Unfortunately, right now, all of the language that I just kind of talked about has not moved forward. At the same time that we are advocating for further protections of wild rice, there's a big effort to repeal what we call the wild rice sulfate standard, which is one of the bedrock protections that we have in Minnesota that is currently kind of the statutory tool that is protecting and thwarting any of these efforts from big mines and sulfide mines opening up in northern Minnesota. So unfortunately, because we are introducing and moving forward a bill to protect wild rice, it leaves the door open for amendments to that bill that have to do with wild rice, including that repeal of the wild rice sulfate standard and the reactive mine waste rule. So we're showing up at basically every committee hearing that relates to wild rice to make sure that our legislators know that we're here, that we're watching, and that we need to protect. And wild rice is an indicator species. It's kind of a keystone species in the ecosystem. So by protecting wild rice, we are protecting clean water, and we're protecting all of our other relatives that rely on wild rice, including fish, birds. Wild rice beds are some of the best places that we have to actually fish. Waterfowl hunters know that some of the best waterfowl are around wild rice beds. So I think a focus right now on protecting wild rice is something that actually is bipartisan, it crosses party lines, and if we do that, if we protect what we have, maybe it'll lead to the stopping of some of these things that are causing harm. So I know a lot of the folks that are watching this are probably really concerned about what's happening at the federal level, and we are seeing erosion of all these things at the federal level. Showing up now in the state and make sure that we protect what we have right here is absolutely critical as we push back against what we're all up against. So Rise and Repair is a diverse alliance of a lot of different organizations, people, grassroots folks, individuals that have been cooperating together to try to advance this legislation. So I would encourage folks to go to riseandrepair.org, take a look. If you go to riseandrepair.org/subscribe, you can sign up for the newsletter. Every Saturday we send out updates, as well as like these last minute kind of action alerts, like what brought folks here today. People had about 24 hours heads up about this, because that's as soon as we could follow and track when this committee hearing was, because everything right now in the legislature is happening like this, with very short notice. And as we saw today, filling that hearing room makes a difference, and there's going to be more opportunities to do that before the end of session. So we encourage anybody who cares about these things right now, if it's data centers, if it's wild rice, if it's protecting clean water, to show up, because our legislators need to know that we're here and we're watching.